Now head to the Ashanti region, where the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has over the last 2 years grappled with leadership challenges from the executive legislature. We now cross over to Kofi Asiedu-Dartey, who speaks to the public relations officer of the assembly.
Of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, Gordon Okumanyame, to let us understand how the assembly is currently operating. Thank you, Mr. Nyame, for joining Midday Live. Now, tell me, how are you currently operating here at the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly?
Thank you very much. I think I need to state that, yes, it is true that when Honorable Kocho Bonsu, that's the former Metropolitan Chief Executive of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, resigned, we had Honorable Alexander Akon, that's the former Ashanti Regional Minister, being appointed to act the how do you call it, Metropolitan Chief Executive. So technically speaking, there wasn't a vacuum because the former regional minister was acting as the Metropolitan Chief Executive. Then luckily also for us, so far as the presiding member position was concerned, also we had roughly after 1 year, it is true that one also we couldn't actually have a presiding member. But through the intervention of the Asante Hene, that is Otumfuo Osei Tutu the second, through his intervention, we had Nana Amakum Hene, that is Nana Adu Mensah Asare, being elected as the presiding member of the assembly. When that was done, as soon as we had a presiding member, then we then moved in to actually form the various subcommittees. So the various subcommittees were actually constituted. They were in operation until last week when we had a communique from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development revoking the appointment of all the government appointees. So until last week, actually we had all the various subcommittees being operational. We had a presiding member. But as we speak, the presiding member was also a government appointee. So as we speak, also we do not have a presiding member.
So how is this also playing out in the Council of State election?
Now, for the Council of State election, we are still in the transition. So we had a directive from the Ministry of Local Government and the Rural Development to actually swear in new government appointees. That is the 30% of the government appointees. But we could not actually have the meeting today because, how do you call it? As I speak, we've not received the list of the government appointees. So we're going to do that today. But as a result of the fact that we couldn't receive the list of the government appointees, that meeting also could not come on. I'm very sure that very soon we're going to have the list and then we'll swear them in for them to become members of the assembly. So we're going to do two things. One, to swear in the new members, and then also for them to nominate 2 members to represent the assembly at the electoral college to elect the member of Council of State for the region.
I will add 3, and they also need to elect a presiding member.
No, per the directive, we were not supposed to conduct that business today. Yeah, we are not.
But eventually, you have to do that.
Eventually, like I said, because the former presiding member was a government appointee, he's no more a member of the assembly. So the position of the position of a presiding member now, there is a vacuum for the position of a presiding member. But as soon as the House is reconstituted, we're going to make sure that we elect a presiding member for us to continue with our business.
And what is the assurance? Because already people are clamoring for action to be taken at the assembly level in terms of fee fixing, getting waste management contracts underway and all that. What is the assurance that we're going to get this underway so that we don't experience the 1-year delay that occurred last year?
Now, if you look at the fee fixing, we have 3 major things that the assembly has to approve by 31st December of each year. That is to approve our action plan, to approve the fee fixing, and then also to approve our budget. That's the composite budget. So that was done last year. I think 31st October last year. That was done. So as we speak, we really have a fee that has been approved by the Assembly for us to work with. So we are working with it. Then also, it is also important to educate the public. You know, we have some of the Assembly is made up of, when you look at the Assembly members, we have two major types of Assembly members. We have the elected and then the government appointees. For some of the subcommittees, the conveners are elected members. So for them, they will still continue with their chairmanship or being the conveners of the various those subcommittees. But in some cases, like social services, the convener was a government appointee. So in that case, too, there is a vacuum. So what it means is that as soon as the House is reconstituted, we're going to make sure that those subcommittees that previously we had government appointees that are no more with us, quickly we have to make sure that we go through the process of getting conveners or the chairman for those subcommittees. But for those other committees that we actually have elected members, they will continue. The new members that are coming will only be we only add them up to how do you call it? We only add some numbers up to those existing committees that we have, the conveners being elected members.
Thank you very much. You heard the Public Relations Officer of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, Gordon Okumenyame, throwing more light on the activities currently happening at the Assembly level. My name is Kofi Edudumfe.